let's get. Slide the drink, you can't even get up in it. 5% the windows tinted. We the ones that steady spinning. Hey, they say tuck your heel, acting not a
What's up,
spinner.
everybody? It's Cam here with Reels and Wheels, and today I have a very special guest on a Zoom interview with comedian Greg Warren. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm great, man. How about you?
I'm doing good. So growing up, I heard you a lot on the radio on Bob and Tom.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, man.
yeah, and I would listen to you a lot with my mom, and you're one of our favorite comedians.
Oh, that's really nice to
And
hear. Thanks
It
a
is
lot,
a
man.
it is a pleasure to have you on an interview.
So what is the meaning of reels and wheels?
Just kind of documenting things in my life, in the wheels part being the wheelchair. It's actually a name I
Yeah, what's the reels?
not movies, no. I just
Oh, I like it.
I want to get into more interviewing. I've done about 4 or 5 interviews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I've been doing some TikToks, not as consistent as I want to, but I'm starting to ramp up a little bit with ideas.
Oh, good. Oh, great, man.
Um, all right, so we're gonna start. Where are you from?
I'm originally from St. Louis. I was born in Springfield, Missouri, but I don't remember much of it. We moved to St. Louis when I was a kid, and yeah, I went to school all through high school there, um, and then went to college in Missouri. I went to West Point for a year. I went to the military academy
Okay,
in New York for a year, but I did finish college and did most of my college at Missouri, which is about 2 hours from St. Louis.
okay.
Yeah.
I've been to St. Louis
Oh, have you?
only once, but so what? Growing up, were you always like funny?
Man, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember. I remember like getting a cassette recorder for a like an old school cassette recorder for a gift when I was a kid. It was like Christmas or my birthday or something. And I remember like trying to do impressions into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they were terrible, if anybody has those cassettes, but I think Howard Cosell was the big one, and Howard Cosell was somebody that everybody did an impression of back then, all probably better than mine. And then I think I definitely, if I didn't know people, they would think that I was shy. And once they got to know me, they'd say I was probably slightly obnoxious, especially in especially in high school. I think I maybe craved more attention than I should have, like
I feel
public
like you're
attention.
describing me right now.
Really? Yeah, yeah, man. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, I was like, I remember running for student council, some off like student council treasurer, some office, just because you could get up and give a speech to
Mm-hmm.
try to get him to elect you. I did, and I won, but I didn't care anything about being on the student council. Uh, I just wanted to give the speech, and I'd like try to make it funny. So I remember, I would say people would say maybe I was funny in high school, probably also loud. Uh, and then, a little once now I have an outlet for it, so I'm not as obnoxious around my friends. I still am sometimes, but yeah.
Were you a class clown?
Yeah, I think in some ways, definitely in middle school. I was a fairly good student, but I was also, yeah, obnoxious. In middle school, I just probably should use this podcast to make an official apology to all my middle school teachers, and in high school a little bit too. I think I was just always um, screwing around, trying to make people
Mhm.
laugh, trying to be the center of attention.
Now, did you have a pretty decent childhood growing up?
Yeah, I had a great childhood. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of comedians didn't, and we'll talk about that. But I had two really loving and supportive parents, and yeah, it was I
That's
don't
awesome.
yeah, it was really great. I had two brothers. My brother Devin is a lot younger, so he was born like when I was a senior in high school, so he wasn't really part of my childhood, but yeah.
Would you
Um
say
I,
he's funny?
Yeah, he's really funny. He's kind of like me though. Like he doesn't show it. I only see it. Like if you talk to his friends, they're like, Devin's hilarious, man. And I've seen it a couple of times, but it doesn't come out often,
Mhm.
But yeah, he's really funny. Yeah, my brother Matt is really funny too.
Now, do you have any children?
No,
No?
no, no.
Okay, because I didn't know if comedy is like a genetic thing or.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just something that never happened. I never got married and had kids, and maybe it's because I started this career a little bit late. But there's probably some other deeper seated reason that that I don't know, that I'm not aware of. But yeah, it never. I always thought I would, but it never became like a huge priority.
I see. No, you're good. So like, how did you kind of get started in comedy?
Um, I while I was in college at Missouri, I was again kind of obnoxious and always like trying to make the guys on the team laugh. And one of my friends, Craig Martin, worked at a comedy club. He was a bartender, and they had like a contest, and he signed me up for it without me really even without me giving him permission. And I did that contest, and I won. I think I won. Yeah, and that was the first time I did it. But when I was in college, I was on the wrestling team, so I was pretty much into that in school. I didn't
Mhm.
really do it much. And I got out of college and I just started doing it off and on. I had a career with Procter and Gamble, so I didn't do it 100%. And sometimes I would go months without doing it because I was like, I think I'm more focused on my career, but I never could quite get it out of my system. And somewhere about 5 years into my 10-year Procter and Gamble career, I started getting a little more serious about comedy. And I start where most people start is just open mic nights, and then
Mhm.
if you do well on the open mic night, they kind of let you eventually they let you do a guest spot on the show, and then they let you be a host or an MC for the show, and I did a lot of that.
Do you remember your first open mic night?
um it would have probably been in St. Louis. I mean, the first time I went on stage was that contest, but the first open mic night was probably at the Funny Bone in St. Louis.
My,
And I
my
don't I
mom
don't
literally said that that's probably where it was.
yeah, it was probably at Westport Plaza, at the Funny Bone, and I did that open mic night last night. It's still running, so it's where I
That's
usually go to
awesome to
work out
hear.
and stuff. Yeah.
Other than being naturally funny, what is something that you enjoy about comedy? Like
Um,
being a comedian.
I think, usually you take this thing that's just an idea, and you over time, sometimes a long time, sometimes not a lot of time, but by some work and some shaping, you can turn it into something that regularly makes people laugh, where it's
Mhm.
almost like, oh, they see what you see. And I think I've heard Brian Regan talk about this before, and he's a lot more eloquent than I am, and so I'm sort of stealing his idea. But when he said it, I was like, yeah, that's the most fun thing about comedy, is to take a new idea, something that you're working on, and like you'll do it, and it won't even be like a great thing on an open mic night, or it won't even be a great joke in your act, but you'll be like, there's a little bit of it that I could tell people related to. Now I got to figure out how to edit it a little bit, heighten it a little bit, shape the words a little bit more, use inflection a little bit more, and I got to let them, really, I got to really double down on this and find out what's funny about it, and then, then they start more and more. They start to see what you think is funny.
Yeah, I
There's two
understand
things.
that.
It's like usually you like think of an idea. You think of an idea and you're like, I'm not sure if that's funny or not. So if the first thing you have to do is figure out what is funny about this, because you won't know it right away. You sort of be like, that seems funny. There's something funny there. And you have to figure out, sort of crystallize what exactly is funny about it. Then you have to use to the right words to explain what is funny about it,
Mhm.
to let them see what you see. And it's usually when a joke doesn't work, it's one of those two things. You didn't crystallize what exactly was funny. You're still kind of vague on it, or you are not using the right words to let them see what you see. if I can do the first thing now in my career, I have a lot of confidence that I can do the second thing. It might take me a couple of months to figure out the right words
Mm-hmm.
and the right pauses. But if I can figure out what I really think is funny about it and make it clear and sort of concise, then I'll eventually find the right words.
Now, do you still write new material?
Yeah, sorry, you're breaking up just a little bit. So you asked if I write my own material.
All right, do you still write new material? Is it still breaking up?
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry, it might be that I'm in a hotel, so it might be me.
Well, we're also experiencing some rain over here, so
Okay.
kind of out of the
I
blue.
do write my own stuff. Now, yeah, yeah, I write my own stuff. I I have a couple of friends that I will like call and ask them if they think it's funny or if they think I'm onto something.
Hmm.
Uh there's a guy, Brendan Ayer, that I do that with quite a bit. The guy that I do it the most with is a guy named Mark Gross. He was a great comedian. Now he's a writer. He writes for TV. And then Mike Birbiglia is another guy that I do it with.
Hmm.
And also Joe Zimmerman is another guy that I'll call every now and then and sort of,
Okay.
yeah, you got to be careful because it's like sometimes, these guys are really funny, but you have to, somebody needs to really listen and be supportive
Hmm.
and sort of see the potential of an idea. Because sometimes, I tried early on to tell my brother, he's like, "Yeah, that's not funny." I'm like, "No, it's not now." But the right guys like Mark Gross or Brendan or Biggs or Joe, they'll be like, "Yeah, I think I see where you're going here. I think I see where you're going. What if we went this way?" Or, did you think of this? We do
Okay.
that for, excuse me, for each other.
Where do you get inspiration from?
I think just life, which sounds like a uh, dumb answer, but I think noticing, just sort of noticing your surroundings and listening to your thoughts.
Okay. Um, is it hard coming up with new content, new material?
Yeah, I think it's certainly not easy, but it's also overwhelmingly the funnest part about the job. So it's weird. It's like it's the hardest part, but it's also the most rewarding and the most fun.
I got you.
And
Um,
sometimes it's not that hard. Sometimes you just like you see something pretty quickly and it just works out. But that's not the rule. That's the exception.
what is your favorite slash coolest venue to go that you've been to?
Um, I have a lot of favorites, man. I've been playing a lot of these clubs forever, and it's my favorite is probably my home club, the St. Louis Funny Bone that I was talking
Hmm.
about. Just it's a great club. I know the people that work there are like my family. But there's other clubs across the country. The Comedy Off Broadway in Lexington, Kentucky is pretty awesome. Um, the Comedy Addict in Bloomington, Indiana is great. Zany's in Nashville, where
Yeah,
I saw you, is pretty awesome.
more like where
Um,
I saw you.
yeah,
I-
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
I know you're coming to Zany's here in August.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can't wait to come back.
What do you
Uh,
know what date that is, or I could
uh,
put it in the video somewhere.
yeah, it's somewhere in the middle of August. Yeah.
Okay. How is the growth, like obviously the growth of social media has changed comedy a lot.
Yeah,
Um, what is your opinion on that?
it's actually been pretty great for me. And I was not an early adopter by any means. I sort of was like, this is stupid. Um, they can either see me on TV or they can see me live. And then I started putting stuff up. Um, the biggest things for me were probably when I did Dry Bar Comedy, which was on YouTube, and that got, over 1 million views pretty quickly. And then I started I started posting clips on Instagram about a year and a half ago, and
Mhm.
that a lot of them really just took off. And I hadn't really posted much, so I had all this material. You know, I had a bunch hours of material to cut up and put up. So you know, it was great because I just kept posting it. And then this last time around, I have a couple more specials on YouTube. The most latest is Nate Bargatze, the one he produced called The Salesman, and that one's had a lot of success on YouTube.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
oh, great, man. Thanks for watching that. Yeah, those have really, it's nice, man, because it's people find you that you would have never known
Mhm.
could find you. You know, I went to DC last week, and I haven't been there in 10 years, and I'm not really on the radio there, and I'm not sure why anybody there would know me other than the internet. And a lot of people came out and said they were fans. So it's from YouTube or Instagram.
Yeah,
most
like
likely.
I'll go on TikTok and I'll see so many stand-up like clips
Oh yeah.
of like Theo Vaughn and stuff like that. Just
Oh yeah, man.
it's everywhere now, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because you know, if you told a lot of us 20 years ago, because I'm 25,
Yeah.
that we would be at this point, it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, man.
What is like your craziest fan interaction?
Fan interaction?
Yeah, you have a memorable one or like a funniest one or anything like that?
Nothing jumps out at me right away. I'm just always, you know, really surprised and happy that somebody knows who I am and cares, you know. But yeah, there's Brad Paisley. I did a show for him at Zany's a long time ago, and he said he
Mhm.
knew he said he listened to some of my stuff. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that seems kind of cool if some a celebrity recognizes you.
Hey, you froze. You
I
you
froze
froze
up
up there
again.
for a second on my end.
Oh
Yeah.
man. I don't know if it's the weather or my internet or what.
Yeah, like I said, it could be mine too.
Um, if it wasn't comedy, what other job would you want to do?
That's a great question, man. I think I'd want to be a high school wrestling coach.
A high school wrestling coach?
Yeah. I think that's what I would like to do.
That's all. That's awesome. Are you a big wrestling fan? Like that style of wrestling?
My dad was a wrestling coach. He was my high school wrestling coach. I'm a big fan. It was a big part of my life when I was younger, and I still now am a big fan of college wrestling. So I think that would be a pretty fun job.
That would probably be a cool job.
And I did a little of it. I helped out in high school a little bit, and it was fun, but it was also like there was a lot of anxiety, man. You get so nervous when your guys are out there. I remember a couple of times being like, I don't know how much fun this is, man. I'm so nervous. I have all this
Yeah.
anxiety. So yeah. It's a lot harder than I probably think it is.
Do you have any favorite skits that you've done? Like, for example, my two favorite is No Neck Nick
Oh yeah, thanks.
and Flute Man.
Wrestled on the team, high school. I also played the clarinet in the band. It's a bad mix right there. The guys on the team made fun of me, especially my best friend Huey Baker. He was a black guy. He's one of those guys who would just get a hold of something and never let you forget it. He was like, look at Greg, man. Greg, play the flute. It's a clarinet, Huey. It's a flute, Greg. You a flute man. Look at little flute man, Greg. Flute your flute, Greg. Little flute man, Greg. Flute your flute man, Greg. Rooty tooty fresh and fluty, Greg. Be on the bus going to a match, you'd be real quiet, and all of a sudden you're up, 2, 3, 4, what the hell, we fighting for, flute man. It's embarrassing when you're out there wrestling, you're hit him with your flute, Greg.
I was shy in high school. Every time I talked to a girl, Huey would show up out of nowhere. Hey, Greg. Who are you talking to? This is Carol, Huey. Carol, how you doing? Well, you flew there, Greg. Flute to Carol, Greg. Now, you know Greg is a flute man. He a flute man, Carol. Go ahead and ask him, who's your favorite football player, Greg? Doug Flutie. Who's your second favorite? Brian Piccolo. Our friend Nick got it worse, man. Nick was one of those guys, he had like high shoulders. He looked like a turtle. Here we called him No Neck Nick. Look at Nick, man. Nick ain't got no neck. Where your neck at, Nick? No neck Nick. No neck Nick. No neck Nick neck patty whack get a dog a bone. But it can't be no neck bone because Nick ain't got no neck. Where your neck at, Nick? The foot bone is connected to the knee bone, is connected to the hip bone, is connected right to the head bone because there ain't no neck bone. Because Nick ain't got no neck. If Nick put on a turtleneck, he would be blind.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Do you have like a favorite skit of yours that you like to do every now and then?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, if I was being honest, my favorite bits are the newest ones, because it's like I'm still like trying to figure out if they can work or not. So that's like my favorite stuff to do is the new. But as I look back, I certainly I like the Flute Man bit because it kind of put me on the map with a lot of places, on some radio stuff and some TV stuff. So that was a big one for me. The 1-star material I kind of liked. That was fun. There's a joke where I talk about shaking my head. Basically the joke is like my friends' wives try and set me up. We'll be at dinner and they'll be like, Greg, you need to meet Jennifer. She's perfect. I'm like, yeah, she might be perfect, but women tend to exaggerate how perfect their friends are. Like, I don't trust them. I have to check it out with my buddy. It's an awkward situation for him. He wants to give me information. He doesn't want to make her mad. It's the quickest head shake you'll ever see. It's like an owl. You're like, whoo. It's like, hey, buddy, if you saw it, great. If you didn't, you're on your own. I'm not going down for you. Did you just give him some sort of signal about Jennifer? No, honey, I love Jennifer. Greg, you should marry Jennifer. So that joke, I don't know. It just it's fun to do like sort of subtle physicality. I think it's not something that I normally do. And I feel like that joke, even though I've done it for a long time, it's one of those things, the short ones, you don't get sick of really. I mean, I'm not sick of any of my material, but the short ones, it just fits anywhere. It's like anytime I need it, I can do it.
Yeah, it's not as drawn out.
Yeah. You don't have to set up a lot of things. And some of my stuff, it goes on for a while. And then I like the peanut butter material in my most recent special. I think that it was nice I had a lot of fun with that. It's silly, but it's also personal. So yeah. And then currently I'm working on some stuff about wrestling that I'm pretty excited about.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So you have any other creative outlets? Like, have you ever wrote a book or do you do any acting or anything?
I've taken acting classes. I've done a very little bit of acting in like my friends' projects or my own little silly short films for wrestling and stuff like that. And I like it a lot. I made like a couple of things for wrestling fans that were like short films, and I kind of almost directed them, wrote them, and acted in them. And that was a lot of fun, but stand-up's sort of where my passion is. I like doing radio, and radio is this, I think I've done so much, morning radio that I don't know, that's a kind of a creative outlet for me too. I've gotten to enjoy it. So I used to be like, I got to do this because I got to sell some tickets, and certainly that's part of it. But I also just really enjoy some of these radio shows I've been going on for 20, 25 years, and I just like talking to my friends.
So you still actively go on the radio?
Yeah.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Because some people would say that radio isn't as like big as it used to be.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still pretty big, and especially certain shows in certain markets. You know, Bob and Tom's is not what it was, but it's also they have like 100 affiliates or something, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of listeners, and it's really, really funny people in that room. So yeah, I think, I think, I don't know. It's just, it's certainly not what it was 20 years ago, but it's still pretty cool.
That's awesome. Um,
Yeah. Thanks, man.
what is this one may stump you a little bit, but what is something you admire about yourself, and what's something that you feel like you could improve?
Hey, sorry, you broke up a little bit.
What is something?
Can you say that one more time?
Yes. What is something that hang on. What is something that you admire about yourself, and what is something that you could improve on?
Man, the second one's a lot easier. Uh, I think I could be. I think I could be a little more disciplined with the writing, a little more consistent.
Mhm.
And I think I could maybe take myself a little less seriously at times. Uh, and then something I admire about myself. Um, I haven't quit yet. I haven't quit comedy yet. I admire that. I guess. Yeah, yeah.
You could admire your humor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it sounds a little, I don't know if you've seen some of my stuff. I'm pretty self-deprecating, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud. I guess it's easier for me to say I'm proud. I'm proud of some of I'm proud that I've continued to put out material,
Hmm.
and it seems like it's evolving. And you know, I'm proud of that.
Completely irrelevant, but what is that on your hat? What hat? What is that? A sports team or?
Hey, buddy, I lost you again.
I was just asking about your hat.
Oh, that's St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I'm not a baseball guy.
I know you Nashville guys. You guys don't care about baseball.
I mean,
Although
if we got a team, I maybe would.
it's like it's like one of the 3 or 4 markets they're thinking about, though. I would say if they do expand, Nashville's a likely candidate.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be wild.
That'd be great, man.
Um,
I think it'd be perfect.
yeah, it really would. It would do really well with the tourism that already as takes over Nashville.
Yeah, man.
It's like crazy. We almost living here. We almost dread going downtown because it's so congested and
Oh, really? Yeah.
yeah, they're always working on something.
Yeah, I
Um,
get what when I was living in New York, I didn't want to go to Times Square, you know, because
oh,
it was
I
just
bet
full
that
of
was
tourists.
wild.
Yeah, yeah. It's cool to see the lights, but you're like, okay, I saw them. I don't want to bump into all these people. I was there last week in Times Square. Like one of the things, there's all these guys that are always, there's like always people trying to sell you tickets or something. And more than anything, it's people trying to sell you stand-up comedy tickets. There's like, and it's sure enough, I was there last week and I was walking through Times Square and this guy's like, hey, brother, you look like you could see a comedy show. I'm like, yeah, I think I've seen quite a few of those in my life, but
Yeah, just a few.
yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of underground comedy in New York in the
Oh,
city.
New York's best. Nashville's pretty awesome, but New York's there's nowhere better for seeing a lot of great live stand-up comedy. Nowhere better.
Now I'm going to Chicago in the summer, and we're gonna go to a couple comedy places.
Yeah, you'll see. Go to Zany's downtown. There's a Zany's in downtown Nashville, which is great. I'm sorry, downtown Chicago.
Mhm.
It's really small. It's only like 120 people fit in there. And then you got all the sketch stuff. You get sketch comedy stuff, Second City, and all that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, there's one that my sister was telling us about where a lot of people from SNL got
Oh
their
yeah,
start.
yeah. Yeah, that's Second City.
That Second City, okay.
Yeah. It's by the Comedy Club, actually, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna check out some comedy there.
Yeah, great.
Now who is the most famous person in your phone?
Let's see here. I would say, I mean, these days it might be Nate. I mean, Nate's huge now.
Nate who?
Bargatze. I mean, don't tell me you don't know who that is. You live in Tennessee, man. The guy,
I've heard of him.
yeah,
Is
Nate
he from Old
Bargatze.
Hickory?
Nate Bargatze is probably these days. Billy Gardell is in my phone. Billy's he's the star of Mike and Molly and Bob Hart's Abishola. And then I have Tony La Russa in my phone. Tony's was the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. He was the manager of the
Wow.
Oakland A's, manager of Chicago White Sox. And so maybe TLR is the most famous. Yeah. I don't know. Tom Griswold's pretty famous. I got him in here. Yeah.
Jeez,
That's from Bob and Tom.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give it up for Tom.
Nate is from Hickory.
Yeah, Nate.
Yeah,
Nate
Nate's-
is actually from where I live, like the exact
Yeah.
around here.
You want me to go out and go ahead and give his phone number out on the podcast?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and leak it to the internet.
Yeah. So anybody wants to call Nate, give him a call. I'm sure he'd be happy
I'm sure
to hear
he'd be
from you.
pretty pissed.
Yeah. That might be the last time I open for Nate.
Yeah.
Somebody else is going to be producing my next special.
Okay. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of comedians?
Man, that's a brutal question. Jeez. I don't know. I mean, all right, Mitch Hedberg's got to go up there in my opinion. Bob Newhart has got to go up there in my opinion. And then it gets tricky because all these other guys, like they're my friends, a lot of them. So I don't want to, it's like hard. So I kind of go with some of the, I mean, for me, like as far as like influencing me early on, Eddie Murphy would be a part of that.
Eddie Murphy's hilarious.
Yeah. And then I would just go ahead and leave George Washington on the Mount Rushmore. I think he's pretty funny. Yeah, I would just I would just leave him up there. Yeah,
That's funny. I don't really have any. I don't have any more questions.
Yeah.
Prepared.
So are you a big Tupac fan?
Oh yeah, I love Tupac.
Yeah.
I love a lot of old hip hop.
Really?
Yeah, like Tupac, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I've seen Snoop Dogg in concert.
Have you really?
It was him and Ice Cube and
Oh wow.
E40 and
Was it Bridgestone?
Yeah, it was at Bridgestone.
Yeah. Oh, that must have been good.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's great, buddy. That's great, man. I bet that was fun.
Yeah, it was. I'm also a huge Jelly Roll fan.
Yeah, man. I think he was in St. Louis for something recently, man.
Oh, he's always traveling on. He's always on the road.
Really?
Yeah, I've kind of watched him from being kind of small to where he is now, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I've met him a couple times. He's really
Oh, you met Jelly Roll? Was he
yeah,
nice?
he's really humble. Yeah, he's one of the
Oh, that's cool.
He's one of the nicest people I've met.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I got a text Nate here and saying that I'm doing this podcast and the host really doesn't know who you are. So,
well, I'm gonna have to do some research on some people. Because you were saying names.
Bob Newhart.
I-
That's fantastic.
You were saying names, and my mom was getting all excited.
Oh yeah. Bob Newhart's pretty awesome, man. He's pretty great.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, like one of the best stand-up comedy albums I've ever heard was Woody Allen's stand-up comic album.
Woody Allen.
It's
Wow.
it's really good, man. It's Woody. It's called Woody Allen stand-up comic. He's got some of my favorite jokes. My favorite joke that I've heard on is on there, and it's he says, "This watch that I'm wearing, this watch, it's very personal to me. My grandfather on his deathbed sold me this watch. It's
Wow.
it's one of my favorite jokes of all time.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love comedy though.
Yeah, check out Nate, man. You'll love him. Check out Mike Vecchione, Joe Zimmerman, Gary Goldman. All very, very funny people.
It's hard to keep up because there's so many comedians now.
I know there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah.
Everyone's wanting to be a comedian.
Kathleen Madigan, she lives in Nashville. You should see her. She's really, really, really good.
Yeah, I definitely plan on going to your zany show. Did that cut out? I may have froze.
Oh, great, man. Oh, that's great, man. Yeah, you froze for a second, but I heard something about Zany, so that makes me
Yeah, I'm
happy.
gonna try to go to your show when you're in Nashville.
Awesome, man. That's really cool. Yeah, great. It'd be good to see you again.
Well, I appreciate you interviewing me, or me interviewing you. Sorry,
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah, we did a little of both, man.
Yeah,
We did a little bit of both. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It was good talking to you. Yeah.
yeah, and I'll put your Instagram and your website at the end of the video.
Okay, cool.
And we'll send it to you and share it to you when I post it.
All right, sounds good, man. It was nice talking to you. Thanks for interviewing me.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you, man. Just kind of like,
All right, good job, man.
I'm just kind of astonished.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't need to be astonished, that's for sure. I don't think I said anything too astonishing.
All right, guys. Well, that's been the interview, and it's been Cam with Reels and Wheels, and keep rolling.